let's jump right in. It's honestly wild to think about how fast cannabis has evolved in our society. What was once widely stigmatized as just a weed has rapidly, and I mean aggressively, transformed into a multi-billion-dollar juggernaut. We're talking medicine, recreation, pet care, and massive industrial operations. So, our goal for this explainer? We are going to capture the absolute essentials of this massive shift in 8 minutes or less. To pull this off, we're drawing directly from an encyclopedic guide on the subject, Cannabis for Dummies by Kim Ronkin Kasey with Joe Cranak. This source material is just incredibly comprehensive. It cuts right through the noise to give us the grounded facts, demystifying everything from consumption and cultivation all the way to the actual business side of cannabis. All right, here is our roadmap. We're breaking this topic down into 5 distinct pillars. 1, the plant and the science. 2, laws and smart consumption. 3, buying and storing cannabis. 4, medical benefits for pets. And 5, growing and the business. So, let's start at the beginning. Section 1, the plant and the science.
To truly understand the impact of cannabis, we have to look at how it interacts with our bodies on a cellular level. And what's really fascinating here is the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. Basically, mammals, and yes, that includes us humans, are naturally equipped with this internal communication network. We literally have cannabinoid receptors distributed all throughout our central and peripheral nervous systems. The system uses chemical messengers to help regulate absolutely critical functions, things like our appetite, how we experience pain, our immune function, and even our stress levels.
And well, this is exactly where the plant comes in. The cannabis plant produces its own cannabinoids that mimic our body's natural messengers. The 2 big ones you need to know are THC and CBD. THC is the psychoactive component, so it's what actually gets you high. CBD, on the other hand, is non-psychoactive. It offers potential symptom relief without that high. Having this clear delineation is absolutely step 1 if you're trying to align a product with the experience you actually want. Now, beyond just the raw flower, the plant can be processed into some highly potent products. First, you have extracts. These are oils made in specialized facilities using pressure, heat, and sometimes dangerous solvents. Think of your vape oils and dabs. Then you have concentrates like hash and rosin. These are made using mechanical processes to pull the cannabinoid-rich trichomes directly off the flower, leaving the inert plant matter behind. Oh, and we definitely can't forget terpenes. These are the chemicals that give the plant its aroma, and they can actually help you anticipate the specific effects of the strain you're choosing. Moving right along, Section 2, laws and smart consumption. Now that we have the biology down, we've got to talk about the legal landscape because it is complex. Consumers are dealing with a totally tangled web of conflicting laws here. In the U.S., cannabis remains federally illegal, yet individual states have wildly different regulations for medical and recreational use. And it doesn't stop there. You have to navigate local city laws, international borders, and even your specific employer's rules. The main takeaway? You absolutely cannot assume that legal in one context means legal across the board. Section 3, buying and storing cannabis. So say you've navigated the laws and you're ready to make a purchase. How do you do it safely? The source material heavily emphasizes the value of buying from a regulated dispensary and talking to a qualified bud tender. Why? Because the black market is full of risks. Buying outside a regulated system means you're dealing with totally unknown product concentrations, potential exposure to dangerous pesticides, rampant scams, and basically zero reliable information on what you're actually putting into your body. It's just not worth it. Okay, so once you bring a quality product home, proper storage is crucial to preserve it and keep it away from kids. You want to keep it in a cool, dark place. And a pro tip for long-term storage, avoid plastic. Plastic can actually develop a static charge that degrades those precious trichomes. Instead, you'll want to use glass, metal, or wood containers and vacuum seal them to keep excess air from causing oxidation. Next up, Section 4, medical benefits for pets. This is one of the most surprising yet increasingly common applications of medical cannabis. Remember how we talked about the endocannabinoid system earlier? Well, dogs, cats, and even horses have an ECS too. The source shares a really emotional reality here. Many pet owners exhaust every single remedy their vet recommends. It becomes a heartbreaking last resort. They feel so incredibly sorry for their suffering pets that they're actually contemplating euthanasia. And then they decide to give their pet a tiny dose of their own CBD medicine, just hoping for a miracle. And you know what? Frequently, they see absolutely remarkable results. We're talking about pets that could barely move suddenly up and walking again, or pets that refuse to eat suddenly getting their appetites back. Studies are indicating that CBD is safe for pets and can potentially treat pain, severe inflammation, nausea, and loss of appetite. Now, obviously, this should ideally be done under a vet's guidance, but the anecdotal and emerging scientific evidence is pretty hard to ignore.
Which brings us to our final pillar, Section 5, Growing and the Business.
If you think growing cannabis commercially is just like running a standard farm, think again. Regulatory bodies mandate a meticulous tracking process, literally called seed to sale, to prevent any product from slipping into the black market. Get this, plants receive electronic RFID tags when they are just 8 inches tall. From there, every single piece of that plant, the trimmed buds, the green waste, the materials sent off for extraction, it is all rigorously tracked by specialized tech and compliance staff. Truly, nothing escapes the system.
Because of all this intense regulation and rapid growth, the industry needs a massively diverse workforce. Sure, they need bud tenders and joint rollers, but they also desperately need accountants, laboratory workers, and public affairs administrators. But the text does offer a word of caution here. Because of heavy taxation and federal restrictions, compensation in the cannabis industry is generally just comparable to traditional jobs. So it's definitely not some get-rich-quick scheme for employees.
And that harsh reality totally extends to investors too. Investing in this space is highly speculative. Cannabis stocks can go from boom to bust in a total hurry. While the returns can be handsome, the heavy regulatory pressures and the lack of traditional bank financing mean you could just as easily lose your shirt. Rigorous due diligence on individual company leadership and their financials is absolutely non-negotiable.
Well, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground in this explainer. We've seen how the ECS works inside us, navigated the maze of laws, and looked at its life-changing potential for pets and the broader economy. So it leaves us with a pretty big question. As cannabis continues to integrate so deeply into our medicine, our pet care, and our business, how else is it going to unexpectedly reshape our everyday lives in the coming decade? It's definitely something to think about.
If you enjoyed this, subscribe to In 8 Minutes and never miss what matters.